Hi everybody, thank you very much for joining us. So we'd like to start off with welcoming you to this pre-recorded training session and really appreciate you logging in. Like most organisations, we've been working from home for a number of weeks now, so we wanted to create this short video to help you best prepare for the return of business travel. Myself and Marie will introduce ourselves and then we'll be taking you through some tips on how to get the most out of your existing Free Now for Business account. So by the end of the video, you'll be experts on controlling taxi spend. And as we now have some government guidelines on a phased return to normality, we want to make sure everyone is equipped with the tools they need to ensure safe, traceable and monitored taxi travel when we return to the office. So as you'll see there, my own name is Ailish O'Donnell. I've worked with Free Now for 5 years, leading the corporate sales team, who work with organisations nationwide on controlling travel costs and helping them embrace technology to drive efficiencies in their own business. So whether you're a local business, an SME, a large multinational, we work with people on enhancing their travel experience and their travel policies too. So I'll pass you over to Marie so you can get introduced to her too before we get stuck into the training.
Great, thanks a million, Ailish. So as you'll see on the screen there, my name is Marie. I've been working at Free Now for 5 years, and as a customer success manager at the company, I have had the opportunity to work with onboarding hundreds of corporate accounts, which has been a really great experience. And I've really gotten to know what matters to corporates in terms of their travel management, which has been great. We've also seen a big transition from phone-based service to technology platforms, which has been fantastic, and seeing that transition with our customers. We've really seen them improve in their travel policies and in their travel management using the technology-based platforms. So I think now it's a perfect time to kind of take a step back and reassess what we're doing and to learn something new as well. I think all of us have learned something new during this during the COVID-19 time. So we'll just move on quickly to our agenda for today. So Ailish is going to be taking you through how COVID-19 is impacting business travel and then companies adapting their travel policies. I'll also be taking you through some top travel tips for when business returns again. And then we'll be showing you a live demonstration of our admin panel, which will really, really help you when we return to business. So back over to you, Ailish.
Okay, great. Thanks, Marie. So of course it goes without saying that COVID-19 has had a huge impact on business globally. And with that, we've had to change our behaviours and how we work and how we will travel. So we conducted some research on what businesses will focus on post-COVID-19. And you'll see there we asked what will be a key priority after COVID-19. And the results showed that 40% of people's focuses will be on cost savings, closely followed by changing operational practices at 37%. We also asked, do you think your company will adapt how it travels for business going forward? 50% said yes, and 30% said they're working on it, leaving only 20% who will remain the same as before, but that might be because they already have a robust travel policy in place. And finally, we asked, which values will you highlight to employees when they're able to travel again? It was a close result between reduced travel at 47% and cost savings at 43%. So it will be important for businesses to find a balance between both. So let's take a look at COVID's impact on business and travel. So you'll see there 40% of companies see a significant impact of the coronavirus on their company's revenue. 741 billion is the estimated revenue loss in business travel alone in 2020. And then 62% of companies have already modified their travel safety and security policies. So just taking a look at those three statistics there, the figures are of course concerning, and I believe actually the total impact across all industries is said to be over 1 trillion. And just looking at overall adapting of behaviours, so many organisations have had to adapt quickly. Even in our own business, we've added new streams to the way we operate. So a few weeks ago, we launched a business delivery service. So we have a fleet of 14,000 drivers. So we wanted to think of ways we could utilise this so businesses can stay connected to their own customers by offering a delivery service or even delivering office equipment to their staff while they're working from home. And then that final point there, 62% have modified their policies so far. So that figure is actually globally. So many companies will still have a piece of work to do there. Now just onto the next slide, you'll see that we have made some changes ourselves in our daily operations for going forward. So we're completely committed to providing safe travel and giving businesses peace of mind. So we're in the process of adding protective screens to all of our fleet at the moment, and we provide our drivers with cleaning equipment and gloves and things like that. So just a side note on those points, we would love to offer help where we can, if there are any organizations watching of any size that would like assistance in reviewing business travel policies, or even just to learn more about the business delivery. So our team at the moment does have capacity to help. We'd be more than happy to. So do feel free to reach out, and we'll be sharing our contact details at the end of the video. So back over to you, Marie, if you'd like to share your top tips.
Great, thanks for that, Ailish. Some great insights there on how businesses are adapting in this current climate. So before we move on to our live demo, I'm just going to take you through some of our top tips for when we return to business post COVID-19. So our first tip would be about implementing travel policies. So really giving you the power to decide when you spend. So of course, most organizations will have travel policies in place already. These might be written in your employee handbooks or on your company intranet. But really what we would say to you here is digitizing these travel policies and making sure that they're airtight is very important. So a lot of your travel partners will have the option, will have that option there that you can block employees from booking during certain times and only have them place bookings when they're allowed to do so. So we would definitely recommend reaching out to your providers on that. And with ourselves, we have this is a brand new feature for us, travel policies. You may not see it in your administration panel, and normally it is considered a premium feature with ourselves that has a cost associated, but we'd be more than happy for anyone that reaches out to us after this video. We will be able to implement this on your account for you. So this should really help you post COVID-19 when you're trying to monitor your costs. And then also, of course, having full visibility. So being able to view and analyze key data through dashboards on your account. Of course, we have to deal with so much data on a day-to-day basis. It's great to be able to see a dashboard and see the key metrics that matter most to you and your organization. So you can really see through dashboards if there is any kind of unusual activity on your account, or it just directs you to the data you should be looking for. Also streamlining expenses. So you can do this through integrations with expense management tools. From feedback we received from our clients, we actually rolled out an integration with SAP Concur, which is a really, really handy tool. If you go into the app at this moment, you can actually connect up to your Concur account through the wallet section. There is no back-end adjustments or anything like that needed. You can do that straight away in your app. And a lot of our customers really enjoy that sort of streamlined expensing and streamlined receipts. And then finally, duty of care. So integrating safety and duty of care into your travel policies is so important, especially now in this current climate. We can see how important everything like contact tracing is at the moment. So make sure when you're back to business and you're trying to cut costs as much as possible, that you don't leave duty of care to the side. So we'll go on now to our live demo. So for any of you that are a customer with us at the moment, you might be familiar with the administration panel. If you are not familiar with the administration panel, as Ailish mentioned, we will have our contact details there at the end. Please do drop us a note and let us know if you don't have access to it, as we really recommend using this tool to control your costs and monitor your account. So one of our newer features here is the dashboard section. So this gives us a nice little overview on our account. So we've got our employee invitations here. So we can see we've got 57 active users and 1 pending user on the account. This means this person has received an email invite, but they haven't quite activated that invite yet. We've then got our trips per cost center. So as you can see here, there's no spend at all this week. From the 1st to the 7th of May, no spend at all. But what we would see here on a normal week is a color-coded breakdown of spend per department. So your cost centers might be your departments, or they might be your department codes. It doesn't matter, you can name them whatever way you like. For ourselves, we would usually see sales would take up a good chunk of this circle here, because sales are out and about at quite a few meetings. Whereas our customer service team would take up less of this circle because they're largely office-based. So for example, if we went into this dashboard here, and we saw that customer service had taken more trips than sales, we would say that's quite unusual. Then we can go to our trip section and check the data associated with that. So it's giving you those key metrics, pulling out the bits of information that might be important for you. Down here in the bottom left, we have our expense statement. So this is going to give you just a quick overview on your last 3 months invoices, and we'll show you where to download those later. Then your distribution of costs. So this is giving you your distribution by time of day and also by day in the week. So if you're a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 company and you go here to Saturday and you see that you've got a high spend on a Saturday evening, again, that might be quite unusual for you. So that gives you that overview that enables you to go into your trips and see what was going on at that time. You might see that there was an event or something on which would completely make sense, but it gives you that tool to go forward and to dig into the data a little bit deeper. So we'll move on to our employee section now. So as we mentioned in the dashboard, we could see there were 57 approved and 1 invited. So any of our approved users are people that can use the account according to their role. So the 3 roles are admin, booker, and passenger. Passengers would generally just use the app to get from A to B if they're going in and out to meetings, for example. Bookers will normally be booking on behalf of other people. So maybe team leads or the people that work at your reception desk, executive assistants, anybody that might need to book a taxi on behalf of someone else will be a booker. And lastly, administrators are the only ones that have access to this tool here. So they have a full account overview. We can then associate a cost center to each employee. So we can give them their default cost center if they're associated to a particular department, and we can change that at any time in this section here. And they can also change their cost center per trip if needed. So for example here, if Ailish needed to change her cost center to operations for a particular trip because she was charging the trip back to that department, she would be able to do that in her app or on the online booker. And here we have our custom value. So if your organization prefers to filter out by staff number rather than staff name or email address, you'll be able to do so here. So you can pop in their staff ID here. If you'd like to download a report at any time of your employees, simply click More and Download Employee List, and you'll be able to export all of this information into Excel. Then in terms of kind of controlling who's on the account, you can remove anyone at any time. Simply just click the box next to their name and press Remove. And similarly, you can invite new employees at any time. So if we click here, we can copy and paste a big list into the multiple employees section here, or if we just have one new joiner and we need to add them to the account, we can pop in their email address here. And we can associate a correct role to them. So this person might be a passenger. A cost center then would be their department, and we can pop in their staff code as well, and we invite them. So they've been successfully invited. So then we should see them pop up in this invited section here. Then finally on the employee section, we have the groups. So before, when we were speaking about travel policies, you might want to only designate certain times for certain groups of employees to travel or to be able to book on the company account. You would begin that process in here by creating a group. So in order to create a new group, you would simply click here and you can pop in the name. So we already have a group existing called Weekday Business Travelers. So we might call this one Weekend Business Travelers. And this might be for people, let's say, who work Saturday and Sunday shift. So they would only be permitted to travel at the weekend. Once that group is created, we just select the people that should be associated to it. We add them in and they're saved as a group now. So that's the first step in creating a travel policy. The second step then would be in the travel policy section. And we can see we've already got a travel policy set up here called Weekday Business Travelers. If we want to create a new travel policy, we simply click here and fill out this form. And if we click into the one that's existing here on our account, we'll see that there's a name, a description, and we can see that the time here is business days, Monday to Friday. So we only want the people associated to this travel policy to travel Monday to Friday. We can also choose any time or set a custom time if we wish, so that's no problem at all. And then we also have vehicle restrictions in place if we want. So we can see here that our employees on this policy are allowed to book a taxi and a taxi XL. So we're talking about 6, 7 or 8-seater taxis there, but they're not permitted to book an executive vehicle. So if they try to book an executive vehicle, or if they try to book outside the hours of Monday to Friday, they'll simply get a message in their app to tell them that they cannot book. Now, finally, the last step in this is the group selection. So we saw that we had created 2 groups in our employee section. One was weekday business travelers and one was weekend business travelers. We have our weekday business travelers toggled on here. because of course it would make sense to have the weekday business travelers traveling Monday to Friday. And for weekend business travelers, we will leave them untoggled and we will create a new group for those guys. So we are all set up with our travel policy there, and we can delete the policy if it ever becomes invalid. Again, this would normally be a premium feature, but if you do want to reach out to us at this time, please do so, and we will be able to enable this for your account free of charge. So we'll just pop into our trip section then. Of course, in the dashboard, we spoke about getting the high level overview of departmental spend or times in the week that you're spending the most money. Here is where you'll get the entire breakdown. So we have an overview here on this page, and as trips finish out in real time, they will actually feed into this section here. If you want to then check trips in between a certain time period, you would simply click on the calendar. And if I want to check, for example, all of my April trips, I'll set my calendar from the 1st to the 30th of April. And then I can simply download the Excel file there, and that'll pop into my downloads on my computer. So I'll get all of the information there, such as times and dates, location of pickup and drop off, and all of that kind of valuable information. So they are the main tools that we would use on the admin panel for kind of monitoring and controlling your account. There are a couple of other sections as well that I'll just point out quickly. So we've got our cost centers in here. So we did see that we had each of our employees associated to a particular department. So we've got the names in here. If we want to edit or delete, we can very simply do that in this section by ticking the box and selecting our preferred button here. Then we can also add new cost centers in. So for example, test 1, I can say, and I can add that into the system, and I can then associate that cost center to any of my employees. We also have our statement section. So as we mentioned on the dashboards as well, you get a brief little overview of your last 3 invoice amounts. You can download any of your invoices since the beginning of your account in this section here by simply pressing the PDF download button. Your accounts department will also get an email with this on the first working day of the month for the previous month's trips, but just so that you know, there's a copy stored in here for you as well. Finally, we'll just look at our account section. So this is where you can edit your settings. We have some company contact information in here in the information section for you. This is just your overall account address and phone number. We've then got your settings. So we can make it mandatory for employees to add a reference for each trip. So as we spoke about before, maybe if, let's say, customer service were coming up as a very high user in one particular week from our dashboard, we might want to dive a bit more into that. If we've got references set as mandatory, once we download our trip report, we might see that there was an event on or something like that, some narrative that each of those travelers has put in. So that will help us to identify the need for those trips a little bit better. Again, we've got cost center set as mandatory on our account, so it just means that each user has to put in their department or the department that they're charging it to before they're allowed to book. Our tip setting is 0, so that means that employees using the app for personal use, so booking on cash or card, are allowed to leave a tip, but for any business travel, this will default back to 0. Again, the travel abroad setting, so this will apply to you if you have any sort of card added to your account. So if you have a main payment card where all employees travel, or if you have the multi-card option where you have certain employees who use their own corporate card and have associated back to the account. In this case, you can tick any of these boxes here to allow overseas travel on the app within the countries. Finally, then on this section, the web booker setting and recipient setting. So this here is just for any of the users on your account who need to use the online booker to book on behalf of others. This just means they need to put in a name and phone number and that it won't default back to their own details when they're making a booking. Then account will be their preferred payment method. They can choose cash at any time if they want, and you can also make your default payment method cash if you wish from this panel here. You will always be able to track all of your trips in the trip section. However, if you would like the actual physical receipts to go to a particular inbox, you can nominate copies of the receipts to go to any inbox here. So you can put in as many email addresses as you like here. And just to bear in mind as well that each individual that makes a booking will also receive a copy of the receipt. And finally, we have our payment section. So here we see that we are set up on a corporate account. So this is an account with the billing option. Some of you might see that you have multi-card enabled. This means that your staff can add their own corporate card and link it back to the account so you get all of the information in your trip section. Or you might see that you have a single credit card added in here, so the amounts are deducted per trip on that card. So that concludes our live demo of the admin panel. So I'll just hand you back over to Ailish for the final note.
Thanks, Marie. It was great to share that insight on the latest features on the admin panel. So that concludes this training session. As you've seen, it will be so important to find a balance between cost saving, control, and employee safety. Please feel free to contact us anytime at ireland.business@freenow.com if you have any questions at all, or if you would like to add the travel policies feature to your business account completely free of charge, please do reach out to us via email. So from myself and Marie, thanks again for watching and take care.
Thank you.